really look.
Okay, we're recording now,
Okay.
and
Is anybody else's audio a little bit scratchy sounding?
Yeah.
yeah, mine's
Yeah.
scratchy too.
Yeah,
Why don't we mute ourselves and see if that gets better? Okay, is it better?
Wait a minute.
No, I think it's Jim who walked away. But I can mute him, can I?
Can you mute me because I somehow or other.
It's not you, Regina. You are never a problem.
It is dead quiet here. Believe me.
Don't worry, your phone's going to ring. I guarantee your phone is going to ring
One of them is, yes.
right in the middle of our moment of silence. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. Wait a second. It's coming.
Where is Mary?
How's that? Do you see our rotary model?
no,
Okay. Then, that's because I didn't click share. Do you see rotary model?
yeah,
Okay, rotary model, service above self.
Service above self.
Okay, please stand, put your hand on your heart, and join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now we're gonna let Jackie come in the meeting. And then I'll ask you to join me in a moment's silence. Okay, so we're Mark and Al have just joined us, so we have a pretty good meeting. Randy, can you keep up with this attendance? We're up to how many
Still have your
people?
moment of silence.
It's over. The moment of
Yeah,
silence
you
is over.
still have it on the screen.
Oh, thanks. Okay, how's that, Paul?
Better.
Okay. And everybody work at keeping me honest now because Diane isn't here. And we've got some announcements. So why don't we ask the membership for announcements? You must be tired of my announcements.
I've got one. Last week I went down to Capeville, the cemetery there at the church, Ebenezer Church, AME Church. And I ride by that quite a bit on my bike, and I've kind of noticed here and there when I go by, the church is beautiful, but the cemetery, couple parts in there look a little disheveled and not well kept. So I did a scouting thing for about 3 or 4 hours down there last week, took a bunch of pictures of the gravestone and so forth. There are some tombstones that are kind of in bad shape. They're knocked over, they're back in the woods and weeds. A number of the older cross tombstones have a metal plate that the person's information should be on. A lot of them are missing. So there's a lot of unidentified graves down there. I think what happens is when they're buzzing around there with the lawnmowers, the riding lawnmowers, they're banging into the tombstones and they're kind of beating them up pretty bad. So I had brought up sometime earlier about possibly offering a volunteer service to do a cemetery cleanup and possibly restore some of these problem areas. I don't know if anybody else is interested. If I could work through maybe Kelvin, and since he's a minister, maybe he can touch base with the congregation down there and offer our services to possibly go down there and clean up a little bit, but also try and work with them to identify the graves that have the identifying markers missing and reestablish the identity of those graves. So just kind of throwing it out there to think about. Maybe
Which church was that, Chuck?
it's Ebenezer AME Church down on Capeville Road, right near Cheapside. So it's on the west side of Route 13 on Capeville Road. It's isolated. It's not part of the town of Capeville. So I think.
I know where you are.
Yeah. So I think what happens is it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere and people don't think about it.
Yeah. It actually faces on the side road there, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's the road that runs right into Cheapside.
Cheapside, right. The crossroad is Cheapside. So anyway, I'm going to put a little bit of information in the newsletter this week about that. And if anybody is interested in possibly working with the congregation and the minister down there, maybe. Go ahead.
I would.
Okay.
I would too, Chuck. And in
I'd be
fact,
interested too, Chuck.
that's a great idea.
All right. Well, I will contact Calvin via email and see if he can maybe put me in touch with the minister down there, unless somebody here knows who it is. I'll put it in the newsletter and we'll get a list of people and we'll see what we can do to help them out down there.
Hey, Chuck, give that high priority and because if we're going to do it, we don't want to do it in the snow. And
Right.
I think because Bob, I noticed the sheriff had his folks out on Stone Road, so we might have a little break for a while. Did you notice that? Oh, you haven't been down here maybe.
No.
But the sheriff's team
Okay.
of people who, have slipped off the trail a bit, have cleaned up last week. Did anybody else see those orange bags?
Yes, I wondered where they came from.
Yeah.
Some of my former clients, Bill. I do such good work, they all go to jail.
Chuck, I know a member of that Ebenezer Church, and I'll be in touch with her, and she probably can give me some leads on the pastor.
Okay.
That'd be good, Alan. Super. Because, if we do something, we want people to know we've done it. Hey, Jim, did we keep you waiting long?
Oh, no. I'm fine.
This thing, I'm going to figure out how to do automatic admissions, but I haven't figured it out yet. Okay, any other announcements from the membership?
Yeah, Bill, I've got one that I discussed with you earlier.
Yeah, please.
I got a call Friday from one of our contacts at Elementary, Katie Pittman, and she was telling me that all of the fifth graders there, in fact, they're twins. They live over in Seaview. Their mother was shot and killed, unfortunately, in front of them. And these are kids that the school had been working with a lot over the last few years. And Katie said all the teachers were pulling together, trying to offer some support to the family, and certainly to the kids that had to witness that right in front of them. And so she just reached out to me to ask us as a club if we would individually or through your church remember the family and offer prayers for those kids that they might be able to deal with this a little better and continue on. And that's certainly a tragic thing that nobody should have to witness, but particularly a young child. And she seemed pretty upset about it. So she's a really nice young lady, and they work very hard with all those kids, and I could tell it affected her personally. So if you can, try to remember children in your prayers, or if you have a prayer chain at your church, if you want to mention it, that would be great. So I told her I would pass that on through the club. So not a happy announcement, but anyway, it's something I wanted to let everybody know about.
Bill, can you think of anything we can do as a club to support that family?
I don't know, Bill. She didn't mention anything like that, and I don't know if that's something we'd want to do, or something that we might be able to do. I can check with her and ask her if there's something that as a club we could do simply that might help out a little bit. Honestly, I don't know what it would be, but I can ask.
Well, I'm gonna get, I told you I would call Kelvin, and I just haven't had a chance to call him, but I'm gonna call him this afternoon. He might have some ideas. Meanwhile, we'll just keep that family in our prayers.
Okay, thank you.
Question, did she say how old the children are?
No, she didn't say how old they were, but she did say they were in the 5th grade. So I don't know, what is that, 12? I guess 11, 12, something like that. But then they were twins, but she didn't say whether they were boys or girls, but she did say they were.
Actually, how long ago did the incident take place?
It's probably been right out a week now, Alan. I didn't see anything about it in the news or hear anything. So
Yeah, there was something in the WESR newsletter that comes up on the internet.
What church did she say they were associated with?
She didn't really say, Alan. I didn't get a lot of details. I think she was probably somewhat limited as to how much she could really say.
Right.
I think Kelvin will know, and we've got to get a hold of him and yell at him because he hasn't been at a meeting since he joined. So we know he's busy, but if John can make it, Kelvin can make it. Any other announcements? Hey, Ralph, you must have an announcement for us.
No.
Everything's mighty quiet on my end.
All right. Well, let me go through some.
I have an announcement.
Oh, there you go.
We have the Rotary 2020 District 7600 Conference at the beach, scheduled for November 6th to the 8th.
Yes.
Right here on Virginia Beach.
Oh, yeah.
It's a nice thing for some of our members, older members, new members who haven't been to conferences or would like to attend. We're going to be there.
Stan, I thought you were changing your mind for a minute there. You said you were going to go. You thinking about going?
No, well, I don't know. It's available. I just want to let everybody know that it's going to be there.
Okay.
You can still register.
Yeah, Jackie and I have signed up. We're going to have a great time, aren't we, Jack?
Absolutely, Bill. I'm so looking forward.
I do have one announcement. That's our daughter has been here for a month, but later this week returns to Saudi Arabia for an unknown length of time. It's not easy to get in and out of the country. And for example, she's leaving on Friday, but Thursday she has to go across to Norfolk to get a COVID-19 test with a 5-hour turnaround time for results, because they don't let you back into the country unless your test has been within a certain very brief time before she arrives. So just keep in mind in your prayers that things will go smoothly for her.
We sure will, Alan.
I'll just say in regard to COVID that I know everybody's getting sick and tired of the pandemic, but it is far from over. In fact, everybody is listening to the news knows that there's a national new record in daily cases, and Virginia has also gone up to the highest point since early July. And even here on the Eastern Shore, there are 5 new cases in Northampton County this past week, which is the most we've had since early August, and similarly in Accomack County.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that Northampton County had a couple more cases. Not good.
Bill, I would like to make a comment as well.
I'm sorry?
I just want to thank all of you all for your expressions of sympathy, your prayers over the last week or so. Several of you reached out to me and sent cards and those types of things. So we really appreciate that. The family appreciates it so much. So you guys are awesome. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you, Reggie. Jackie and I attended Reggie's mother's graveside funeral. And, you know, one thing about funerals, you learn about people you never knew. And Reggie, your mom was super. Everybody loved her. She reached out to everyone, and she is really looking down, and I know she's proud of you. She's in a great place now, and we wish you and your family continued strength as you get used to your mom being away.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, now I have a few announcements, and my announcement is right at the top there with Chuck. In fact, if you look at my cheat sheet that I use to keep me on target, I don't know if you can see it, but you see there's the word service is real big there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Service.
Just because we're hunkered down, we start the model service above self, then we don't do crap. We haven't done crap for 8 months, and we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. We really should be. So I'm ashamed, and you should be ashamed, because even if you don't do service, you should be thinking about service. Service is a mindset. It starts with, how can I help somebody who can never really pay me back? You should wake up every morning saying, how can I do something to help somebody along, especially those people who can't help me? So, and Chuck, you're to be congratulated because you have that mindset. We have that mindset. But this COVID thing is throwing us off. And we're not going to let it throw us off. In fact, I don't know where Stram is today, but the Main Street, they have some shelves that they need assembled. They're probably those IKEA things, you know, and they're looking for volunteers. So if you're handy with a screwdriver and maybe some pliers, get back to me and we'll figure a way to go over there and be socially distant. And so this isn't something, you know, we can all go together, but maybe 1 or 2 of us can go at a time and put some shelves together for Main Street. So the message today is service. Service, service, service. We say it gets to be routine, but we haven't been doing it. I know it hasn't been easy to do, but I want everybody to think about how they can help somebody out. Enough of that. End of lecture, end of lecture. Get your flu shots. Paul has caps and t-shirts. And as an example of service, Jim and Paul are getting up at 5 o'clock next Tuesday. And Paul didn't know what he was getting into. I didn't
No.
give the full story, but they're at 6 o'clock in the morning. They're going to be out parking cars, helping out our old Rotarian friend Terry. So congratulations, guys. And
Bill,
yes.
can you mute out Robert Church? I think that's where the static is coming from. His screen keeps lighting up.
He's on the phone.
Yeah.
And
You need me to.
he's muted.
Okay.
He's now muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, unmute it, Robert. Yeah, unmute your phone.
Me?
You, Robert's phone needs to be unmuted. So
No, we're muting him because he's causing all kinds of static.
I'm unmuted.
Started up again as soon as he got unmuted.
Exactly.
Right.
He should be muted.
I need to mute it again.
Good pickup, Reggie.
I'll do it. Hey, Robert, we're gonna have to mute you. We like you, but you're screwing up the meeting. Okay, what are
I will
these?
say one more announcement.
Oh, okay. I
I
haven't finished. Hey, no, Paul, I haven't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is yours, and this is Jim's. So when you guys are out there in the cold and dark next Tuesday,
What in the hell?
nobody will run over you.
Won't get run over.
These will light up, and so Jim, we're looking at. Hey, I bet you they didn't do this for you in your old club, did they? Ah, see. Yeah, you're in
It'll
Cape
also
Charles
help.
now, buddy.
It'll
Okay,
also
Paul.
help you safely land an airplane.
Make sure you keep them up.
Okay, Paul, what you have something to say?
Richard Leal's widow, Joan Prescott, did name our club as a place to contribute funds to in honor of Richard in lieu of flowers or whatever. Not that there's been any sort of event yet, but and so far I've gotten close to $400 in contributions in Richard's memory, and that opportunity is certainly available to anybody in our club who would like to make a contribution. All you got to do is send it to me, and we will make it a tax-deductible contribution to you by sending it to Polio Plus in your name. Joan will get notified, and she will appreciate it, and we will turn that around and use that. The club makes a big contribution to Polio Plus every year, and we will use that in lieu of some of the club's funds, which will free up more club funds for local projects, which was what Joan wanted the money to go to.
Paul is also good at laundering money. Okay, we are still looking for a president-elect, but I'm not going to worry about that because I know John Burtis will come through with his committee. But we're getting
Bill,
we're getting close to pets.
Time is running out.
Yeah, and remember what Bill Murphy said. Bill Murphy, who is the smartest guy in the club, said,
not even the smartest guy at my house.
Well, I believe that. I believe.
how many guys are in their house?
Well, smartest person.
So Murphy said, look, nobody has to do this all alone. You can share it. So, think about maybe being half a president-elect, and there's another half of a president-elect, and you've got this tremendous team of Diamond and Strong and Burtis and Murphy. Everybody just about in this club has been a past president. So you've got a tremendous support team. And what we're trying to do here is hang on until Reggie gets out of the woods. Once Reggie's out of the woods, the club is whoa. But we're just waiting for Reggie. So we need to buy a little time here. So think about that, my friends.
Bill, can I say one more thing about that?
Yeah.
One thing, there's any number of ways that we could do a president, co-presidents, president for a month, president of the week, I guess, if we had to. But, and Rotary is very lenient and very flexible in most areas about most everything I've found. And I've talked with the district governor a little bit about it. And of course, I already knew. We absolutely have to have a named president. If we do not, the club will lose its charter. And after close to 98 years, it will be gone. I mean, it's just that simple. It's one of the few things, that and the dues are one of the few things that Rotary is still very hard nosed about. So at some point in time, we have to name someone, a person, and that person has to go to Pets. Now, if that person actually does the president's job, we do what we do. But I do want everybody to understand that at some point in time, someone has to come forward, and we do have to designate a person as our club president. So that's just the way that it has to be. So I just want to be sure. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that, but I just wanted to be sure that that's said before worse come to worse, and all of a sudden people say, well, I wish I had known that. So I just wanted to get that out there.
No pressure, no pressure.
No, none at all.
No pressure. But
Bill, what is Pets?
All your neighbors will be saying, remember there used to be a great Rotary Club in Cape Charles. I wonder what happened to it. And it's because Dad wouldn't throw his name in the hat.
Reggie, you have a question?
Bill Payne.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So what is Pets?
It's Pets is president. It's where the presidents. That's where you learn to be a president.
It's a president-elect training seminar. That's what the acronym is.
I knew that. I've only been 3 times.
Normally, it's only something you find out after you've already been named president, Reggie.
Way ahead of the game, Reggie.
Let me tell you, and Pets is so much fun. Oh God.
And also, speaking of things you find out later, you also find out after you've already stepped your foot in it and accepted the job of area governor that you have to go every year. So I've gone 4 times now. So.
Oh, you've been 4 times. Oh God. Oh well, All right, enough of the fun and games. Now we're going to get real serious because Jackie's going to give you her bio.
I am?
Yeah. In fact, she's going to come over here and sit in.
I don't have a bio.
Come on, Jack. Get over here. So.
From a test tube. All right. Now that I have everybody's attention.
Well, what about Happy Dollars?
Oh, I forgot. Jackie, why don't you run Happy Dollars?
I don't know how to run Happy Dollars.
Okay, no, she doesn't because it's my computer. Thanks, Paul. Got all. Where is it? Where is it?
If we had a written agenda, this probably wouldn't happen.
Who said that?
There's always a smarty.
Wait a minute, I'll write his name down right now.
I just said that for Paul.
Agenda.
I know he was thinking
agenda. It's highlighted. In fact, Happy Dollars is in green. Can you see that? It's in green.
Yeah.
But nobody gets the agenda but you.
Yeah, but you got a leader here who's working on half a watt. All right, Happy Dollars, Happy Dollars. After all that, we better have some.
I'll start with $10. First of all, 5 for Meddy and her book about Tom. I ordered the book. It may be in my mailbox. Haven't picked it up yet, but I did order the book. And then I also saw a video produced by the Barrier Island Center. I think it was called The Gatherings. That may be wrong. But Crosby Johnson, our friend, had a leading role. And I think, I may be wrong, Robert, what church do you go to? Robert Church?
He's muted. Let me,
Muted.
What? Well, come.
Goes to Bethel.
He goes to
Yes.
Bethel. Is that in Eastville?
Yes.
Yes.
Were you? I think he was in the video, had a small part too. So for the two of them, $10, 5 for Meddy and 5 for the gathering video.
yeah, I'm trying to get rid of the screen.
It's
Hold
worth
on.
a watch if you haven't seen it. Go to the Barrier Island Center. They have really good production material. This is another good video about gathering spots on the Eastern Shore, historic and current.
Okay.
All right, thank you, John. Any other happy dollars?
Sit down.
I have $5 for Meddy's book also. I'm waiting for it to come in. Hopefully it'll come in soon.
Tom Godwin has a box of books. You can get one from him.
Jackie,
Already
on last Saturday, Jackie talked Tom out of his book for no money.
I gave him an IOU.
That's who we're dealing with here.
I'm gonna give him his money.
Okay, other happy dollars.
Yeah, I've got 5 also, Bill, along the same lines. I got the book last week. I'm about halfway through it, and it's very well written. Meddy did a great job of getting Tom's life down on paper. You learn an awful lot about Tom. You learn a lot about the beginnings of the town. You learn a lot about history of that era. And it's very entertaining. Those of us that live here, it's particularly interesting. So it's a really good book, and I'm enjoying it. So I've got 5 happy dollars for that.
Thank you.
and I'll contribute $5 as well to her book. Obviously, I haven't been here as long as Tom, but I've been here since 1947. So I know a lot of that history.
A lot. That's a lot of time.
I think you're the senior one in this crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, any others? Meddy, are you ready to come on the program down the road and talk about the book as a speaker? Are you muted, Meddy?
Yeah, Tom and I will be ready.
Okay,
You
I
can-
think we're kind of booked up into December, so it would be in December sometime. So we'll get you on the roster.
All right. Not
All right.
during the holiday, of course.
I'm sorry.
Before the holidays and after the holiday.
Yes, we'll try to do it before the holidays. Okay, any more? Okay, well, that'll be it for happy dollars. So now, thank you, Paul, for reminding me. And Jackie, you're on.
Well, I have to say, it's been a long time. I don't know if I can remember my history. I just celebrated a birthday, so I'm like 65 plus. So anyway, I was born and raised in Newport News, Virginia. The second oldest of 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Of course, it was segregated back at that time. Very different type of segregation from what Tom experienced here on the Eastern Shore. I'm not here to talk about that, but I read his book with interest because I learned a lot from it. Living over here was like being really on an island, total separation almost. So I attended the public schools in Newport News for Black children. I had to ride a school bus to school because we were 5 miles away from it. So I enjoyed 5 years of riding the school bus, but I was a very good student, if I have to say so myself. I graduated number 4 in a class of 215-ish. I submitted applications to HCBU institutions, which is historically Black colleges and universities, because at that time, Blacks were not allowed to attend white institutions, particularly in the South. I received multiple scholarship offers from my applications, and I selected Spelman College, which is located in Atlanta, Georgia. It's an all-female school, predominantly Black, and it's right across the street from an all-male school, predominantly Black. And the male school was Morehouse, and it's the school that Dr. Martin Luther King attended. And actually, it was in the Atlanta University Center, and that center consisted of 6 institutions, including Spelman and Morehouse. There was Atlanta University, where master's and doctoral degrees were conferred, and 2 co-ed colleges, Clark and Morris Brown, and the Interdenominational Theological Institute, which was a school, college for ministers. Now, it has now changed by having Morehouse College has added a medical school now. And at that time, there were only 3 medical schools that Black doctors could attend, and that was at Howard University, only 2 really. 2. And the one in Tennessee, Meharry College in Tennessee. So I decided that I was going to major in chemistry, and I did. And I had a minor in math. The great thing about going to, you see how much fun I am, even though I'm smart. Woo. So I found out when I got.
Wait, do we get to ask questions or heckle, or is that at the end? When do we get to say
heckling can be all through.
Okay.
I was pleasantly surprised when I got to Spelman, because I found out all my major courses were on Morehouse's campus. So I was with the guys all day long, except for classes over at Spelman. So I finished Spelman, got a degree with a BA in chemistry and a minor in math. And I was at a party one night, and I ran into this guy. I'm still looking for it. Spelman didn't have the expanded support system that it has now for job solicitation once you finish. It's now got a whole big 2 or 3 departments devoted to it. I met this guy at this party, and he told me he was a computer operator at Lockheed Aircraft Corporation. And I stood him down and I said, you cannot, I don't believe they're hiring Black people to be computer operators. So he gave me a name and a telephone number. I got in contact with a department head, made an appointment, went out to talk to him and found out, of course, I had already known that he was Black also. I said, what is going on here? So because of my my good background, my education, my manners, and all that good stuff, I was offered a job at Lockheed. I accepted it because it was the only offer I had. And I was going to become a programmer. And I said, I don't know anything about programming. They said, we'll teach you. And they did. They gave me catalogs and manuals and all kinds of things to teach myself, which I did. After a certain period of time, I was then given assignments. So my time at Lockheed was spent primarily working on writing programs in Fortran, which stands for Formula Translation. What's funny?
I told him about Fortran.
Writing programs in Fortran in support of the engineers who were developing the world's largest cargo plane, the C-5A, which is flying now. And I stayed there for a couple of years. And during that time, I met the children's father. And I call him that because we are no longer married, but I have to have some way to reference him instead of ex-husband. So I met him and we got married, and we decided that we put together a 5-year plan. And in that plan, we decided we would leave Atlanta. And we both got jobs with Esso, now Exxon, went out to Houston for an interview. He was given a job as a marketing rep, which means that he sold Exxon products to the gentleman who owned or worked for Exxon, owned the stations. And he was actually, you know, in the Black world, you learn a lot and get into a lot of things because of connections. He found out about the job because his frat brother worked for Exxon and he was leaving. So that meant there was one opening. So he got that job and I got a job in the general accounting office. Well, I'm now a programmer writing in COBOL, but I didn't know COBOL and they taught me COBOL also. They gave me the manuals and they had one class, you know, where they talked about bits and bytes and how the computer works. And I stayed there for a couple of years. We met a couple who was in Atlanta when I was in school. Gentleman went to Morehouse and the young lady was 2 years ahead of me at Spelman. And he had finished the Wharton School and he talked to the children's father and said, you know, this is something you should consider, visit it, talk to people, make a decision. So we said, okay. We went to Philadelphia, thought it was fine. The father made an application and he was accepted. Our plan was for him to go first and then for me to follow. I was supposed to be working. Jobs were hard to find. I had a hard time finding a job and I finally got one working as a Head Start follow-through teacher. No teaching background. That was the government paying me money to teach. And I worked there for 3 or 4 months and then I finally got a job with the school district of Philadelphia. And now I'm a programmer again. And my primary task there was to rewrite the payroll system for the Philadelphia school district with another programmer. And it was during that time that I learned the correct spelling of 40. Do you all know how to spell 40? I spelled it F-O-U-R-T-Y. And in the program, I had go-tos into her half and she had go-tos into mine. And we were using numbers as the heading for the paragraphs. And I had computer printout this high with all these errors because I spelled 40 wrong. It was fun. It was fun. So anyway, by the time I was about to get ready to go to the Wharton School, the children's father said, Jackie, the Wharton School needs somebody to teach Fortran to incoming Wharton students. Here again, I said, but I don't know anything about teaching. He said, well, don't worry about it. Nobody knows Fortran. They don't know if you're telling the truth or not. So I got the job, and fortunate for me, the job, it was a teaching fellowship. It covered my my room, my tuition, and I got a stipend. Now, by this time, the children's father and I had been married 5 years. And don't you know, it's a 2-year program. In between years 1 and 2, I got pregnant. So I'm still teaching. I decide that I don't want to come back the next year. So I went to, took a semester in summer school. Now I've just got to finish that second half of the year and I've got one sit down class and the classmates did not want to do the exam on the stated date and they convinced the professor to change the date. And the professor said, well, we'll have to take a vote. Now I'm pregnant, my child is due on November 27th, and they want to change the date to December 12th. So voted for the date change. Everybody in the class hand went up. He asked if there was any opposition. I was the only one who opposed. I mean, I didn't want to get caught trying to have this baby. So as it happened on the 12th of December, we had the exam, and the very next day, my daughter was born. So it all worked out well. And I had her at the hospital of the University of Pennsylvania. She was with me the full 9 months. And I bet you none of you guys can do that.
You're right.
So after that, I went to work. I mean, that was like in the
What
November.
part?
What did you say?
What part?
Oh,
What part?
what part was? Yeah, right. I went to work in January. I mean, look, I just had this baby in November, beginning of December, and I'm at work now in January. You see how much women can do? I'm back at work on a full-time basis. I went to work for IBM Corporation in their corporate headquarters, and that's where I met my good friend, Bill. And that year, the chairman of IBM was the chairman of the United Way for the region, right, Bill?
Yeah.
And so he wanted everybody who lived and worked at IBM to contribute to the United Way. And so what he did was to have a couple of buses, 2 or 3 buses, arranged to take people from corporate to all of the locations that they had in Westchester County, which was like half of the county. They owned a lot of the county. And Bill and I were chosen to participate. And so we met on the bus and we solicited IBMers to contribute. I think he had 100% participation. I stayed at IBM for 2 years because my master included a minor in computer science. So my job at IBM, here I am in data processing world again. I was responsible for the programs that supported the financial office. I managed the bank reconciliation programs. There was a cash management program that had to run every single night because it captured from all around the world all of the monies that IBM had pulled in, all revenue, and sent that information to corporate headquarters. So in the morning, this program had to be run because that money plus the expenses that had come in was used to calculate how much money was left over. And that report went to the investment department, which was 3 guys. And they managed then the investment of the excess funds. At that time, IBM had a surplus about an investment portfolio of about $2 to $3 billion. And then there was this one guy who managed the entire retirement trust fund. Report was this big, but it covered every person in IBM in the world. So I looked at all these places where I had an opportunity to come out of data processing and saw there was nowhere to go. So I left IBM and I wound up at Citibank, and I worked for Citibank for almost 25 years. And I got experience in just about every area of Citibank. I worked in the corporate bank, the private bank, the business bank. I worked in the audit department. I worked in a special unit that sourced programs for Citibank customers for projects that were taking place all over the world. All of that was an attempt to increase the revenue coming into Citibank. We'd find them, notify the companies, then provide financing for, mostly these were projects that dealt with providing water and energy in, not mostly, and electricity in various countries where it was needed. So one of the jobs I had was as the special assistant to the new auditor, chief auditor for Citibank. This happened to be their first Black auditor. And this gentleman's way of running meetings was to talk softly so that everybody had to be quiet in order to listen to what he was saying. Maybe we can get Bill to talk softer. So he had to visit all over his locations all over the world. So I had an opportunity because as his special assistant, and I must tell you that I was in his second year. The first year he had 4 guys who were serving as his special assistants. The second year he had 2 women doing the same amount of work that 4 guys did. You all see where I'm going here?
Oh, yeah.
No doubt.
So we had an opportunity to travel, this lady and I, and we traveled. I went with him to Hong Kong. We went to the UK. So I got international experience just by being his special assistant, and that was a good run. So after Citibank, after almost 25 years, I had worked also in the private bank, and one of the ladies who worked for me, most of my work at Citibank was, of course, on the credit side, credit risk management and the extension of credit, and I had a portfolio of customers in different departments that I worked in. And gee whiz, where was I going with that?
You got fired.
No, I did not. I did not get fired. I know where I was going. I was running. I had this team in the private bank, and she left. One of the ladies on my team, she was managing a portfolio of people, and I was the credit risk manager for extending credit to that particular segment of private bank customers. And she left to get a job closer to home. When she took that job, she subsequently found out that there was an opening in that job for senior vice president in charge of the private bank, the consumer bank, the auto loan portfolio, the mortgage investment portfolio, everything related to the consumer bank and the private bank. And she said they were looking for somebody. I said, oh, well, you know me. I haven't had experience at all of these things, but I'm willing to let them see me. So I went in, I had the interview. Of course, I got the job. I was with it. That was this was a time when I expected to retire soon. So I had put in 25 years at Citibank, and I wanted to, get 5 years somewhere else, just increase my cash flow. And so I went to Summit Bank. I took the job as the senior vice president for the consumer bank and the private bank. And don't you know, I was into that job 3 years, and it was acquired by another bank. And that bank was subsequently acquired by Bank of America. So now I had to start my 5-year plan all over again. And I did get a job then with the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And I stayed with them for 5 years. And I went there specifically to work on a project dealing with the risk capital. How much capital, and this was a worldwide project, how much capital should banks hold for the different types of risk assets they had on their books? And that determined how much capital they had to hold in order to lend. So I said, this is great. I took that job because it would be the first time that I had a job where I didn't have to manage anybody, where I didn't have to do annual reviews, and we didn't have to decide how much of a salary increase should be made within certain parameters. And so many people had to be a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I was happy not to be able, not to do anything but manage me. I was in the job about a year and one semester, and they came to me and said, well, Jackie, we would like for you to manage a team. It was, I can't say no. So I said yes. So now I'm back in the people management business. And now I'm running a team of about 8 reviewers. And, the Federal Reserve Bank is responsible for reviewing not domestic banks, but foreign banks and bank related affiliates. So now I'm back into doing that again. But I survived it. I stayed there for 5 years, and then I retired. And Bill retired. I think he had already been fired by IBM. and then we moved here to the Eastern Shore, and Bill slowly decided to take over Cape Charles.
About your children and then.
Oh yes, I have 2 children, a boy and a girl. My daughter has a PhD in education. She's very smart, and so is her brother. And And she likes yoga too. And she gets on my nerve when she starts talking to me in that yoga voice, you know, that lilting voice. Drives me crazy. But she has a son that's 8 years old. She just took a new job she lives in California. She has always wanted to live in California. Back when she was getting ready to go to college, she wanted to know if she could go to school in California. And I said, no, you can't. They have enough freaks out there. They don't need one more. So she accepted that. And she finally got there 3 years ago. And my son is 3.5 years younger than she is. They both graduated from NYU. My daughter attempted to go to Spelman, where I went to school. Back in those days, going to a Black school was like going home because they treated you just like you were one of their children. So I had to find ways to get around their controls like I did when I was at home. So it was a fun time. So my daughter went, she came back between Christmas break, the second year, and said, Mom, please don't make me go back. Because she was a music major, and the head of the music department did not want music majors to be in the jazz band. And she joined the jazz band anyway. And the head of the music department came and pulled her out. So she said, I don't want to do that anymore. And so she went to NYU and she got a degree in business management, which was one of the best things she could have done at that time. And for a while, she worked at a music company and had access to people who were well known at the time. So she learned a lot about running the music business. And as a backup, she went on and got a master's and a PhD in education. So that all worked out. And then her brother, I never knew he liked movies. He decided, it happens to be that the high school that they went to had a, what do you call it? A theater department. And they had equipment for making movies. And I come home from work one day and they're all about 15, 14. And I see my car coming down the street and he's out there with a camera filming it. So we had a talk and I learned where to put my keys where nobody could find them. What he does now is that he's a director. He lives in California and he has done a number of episodes of some very well-known series that are on TV. He first did what they call shadowing, and he did a shadowing at Grey's Anatomy. And recently, back in February of last year, he married the young lady that he met on Grey's Anatomy. So he's done Insecure, if you know that. He's done some things on HBO, ABC, NBC, anything. I can't think of all the things that he's done. Oh, Netflix, yeah. So he's very happy, and so is my daughter, and they live in California.
Okay, now time for questions. We're running over.
Okay, all right. I told him I needed 2 days to do this because I left out a whole lot. But anyway.
Ask for questions.
Are there any questions? No, see that?
Were you a member of a sorority at Spelman?
You know, Spelman was really strict. They didn't have any sororities.
Really?
No, they do now. But
yes.
I have to tell you, I didn't meet the dean, but the dean found out about me because in freshman year, my room was right next to the step and the big porch that led into the dormitory. And I put a sign in the window that said, men wanted, no experience necessary. And the dean of women walked by one day and saw it, and she came in and spoke to the house mother. The house mother called me in and told me the dean was not very happy with that. So and the dean wants you to be punished. So my punishment was that we didn't have service on the weekend. I had to keep the bathrooms, 2 floors with bathrooms. I had to keep the bathroom stocked with toilet paper and empty the garbage can and keep the lounge space. Is he standing over me?
Yes.
Keep the lounge space downstairs in the basement clear. I did that for two weekends, and I realized the house mother wasn't checking on me. So I stopped. I called it quits.
Was that Fortran 4 or Fortran 7?
It was Fortran 2.
Jackie, were you still using punch cards when you were doing your Fortran programming?
Still using what?
Punch cards.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the biggest fear, that somebody would take this tray this long and drop it.
All right. Thank you, Jackie,
Yeah.
for giving us that tremendous bio.
I could go
Okay,
on.
out.
Okay, all right.
Hey, Jackie.
Yes.
I just got hired a new banking case today. If anybody calls you, you don't know me, okay?
Okay, we had to do that. That's part of the protocol.
Oh, my God.
And so now,
There's a lot more.
thank you, Jackie. With regard to what we think, say, and do, 1, is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And Stanley,
Will we have fun?
see you next week, everybody.
Thank you guys for listening to me.
Enjoyed it.
Great speech, Jackie.